Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from AnthonyMorganti.com, and this is episode 4 of Photo Critiques. And in Photo Critiques, people send me some of their best photography, usually 3 to 10 photos, and I critique each photo with suggestions on how they could improve it and hopefully improve their photography. Today, we're going to look at the work of Dimitris Zarahanis. And Dimitri, I am sorry, I am destroying your name. I'm terrible at pronunciations. I mispronounce my own kids' names all the time, so I'm really sorry. Before we get to Dimitri's work, though, if you guys could do me a favor and if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel and share, like, comment on the videos, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, Dimitri sent me 3 shots, and the interesting thing is he doesn't own a DSLR. Dimitri shot these with a point-and-shoot camera, an Olympus FE190, and it just kind of goes to prove, because I'm going to show you, he took some really nice shots. You could take some really good photography with a point-and-shoot camera. Of course, if Dimitri ever upgrades to a DSLR, he'll have a lot more opportunity to do a lot more with his photography. He could be a lot more creative and do a lot more things. But let's look at the shots he did send me. The first one is of a bonfire, and believe it or not, bonfires or fire in general, it's not that difficult to photograph. In this case, he used his point and shoot, and I'm going to hit I on my keyboard in Lightroom, and we'll get the information on the top left hand side here, and this was at 1/200th of a second. With fire, it's kind of the opposite of waterfalls. With a waterfall, you want to use a real slow shutter speed to blur the waterfall. Well, fire is kind of the opposite of water. You want to use a real fast shutter speed, and you want to freeze it so it looks real crisp and clear. And in this case, the point and shoot, he was limited. He couldn't really alter it to get a faster shutter speed. And it still came out very good. It's very nicely focused. But if you're ever going to shoot, a bonfire or a fire in general, try to use as fast a shutter speed you could get away with, and it will look a lot better. The other thing I would suggest is it's just a picture of fire. You need another element in here, and perhaps some kids sitting around. This is kind of a raging fire. You might not want to have kids sitting around it. But, somebody sitting around it roasting marshmallows, maybe people sitting around it enjoying the evening, playing a guitar, typical type stuff like that. But you add that second element, and you do it in such a way where the warmth of the warm light of the fire is reflecting off their face, and it would be a really top-notch shot. So that's what I could suggest, is use as fast a shutter speed as you can on fire, and have it a secondary element in there that will add some interest to the shot. Okay, in the next shot, he sent me this macro of a pocket watch, and actually this is a superb shot, especially considering he used a point and shoot. Couple things is, if he did use a DSLR, he probably could have used a smaller aperture, and he could have got these numbers over here more in focus, and this other part of the watch more in focus, because the focus drops off relatively rapidly. The thing, though, even with this point and shoot, when you're shooting product photography, even if it's an antique pocket watch, is you don't want any hot spots from the light. And he has some hot spots on the crystal here and some on the rim around the crystal. And usually when people shoot small items, small product photography, they'll use a light box tent. It's a white enclosure, and I'll have a link to where you could look at one on my website. If you go to AnthonyMorganti.com and you look for my write-up on Dimitri's work, I'll have a link there where it'll show what I'm talking about. And it's just a cloth tent that you shine the light through, and the cloth works to diffuse the light and reflect the light so you don't get these hot spots. But other than that, the way he has it laid out is really nice. Even the time, a little bit before midnight, or maybe noon if you want to look at it that way. But everything is really nice. I like the way he laid it out and everything else like that. And he got everything he could get out of that point and shoot. like I mentioned, just work on these little bits of hot spots there, and it'd be as perfect a shot as you could get with that Olympus camera. Okay, and the final shot he sent me is superb. This is a great shot. You have diverging lines. You have this road going off towards the left, and then you have the shoreline kind of meandering down the middle and then making its way out towards the right. And the reason why you like to have lines, either converging lines, diverging lines, even parallel lines in a photograph, diagonal lines, is it leads the person looking at it leads their eye through the photo, and they lead their eye through the photo. And he did an excellent job of framing this shot. The color is great. You have a nice contrast with the greens to the blues. Really, nothing I could really recommend on here. He used a point-and-shoot camera, and it's a great shot. In Lightroom, if he wanted to use Lightroom, he might be able to put a graduated filter down and darken that sky just a little bit and bring out some more detail in the clouds. But other than that, it's a really great shot, and I'd really thank Dimitri for sending me in his work. It's really superb, also considering he used the point and shoot. And you know, point and shoot, it's no slouch. If you have one, as a matter of fact, I was thinking of just getting one, because as a photographer, you should always carry your camera with you wherever you go. But I'm bad at that. I sometimes just go somewhere and I don't have a camera with me, and I should get a really good point and shoot, and I could take pretty nice photographs like Dimitri did. If you guys are interested in having me critique your work, go over to my website, and at the very top you'll see critiques. Click on that, and there's instructions there on how you could send it in to me. I'd be glad to critique your work. You know, it's free, and I do write a blog article on it, and I probably will do a video on it. But if you don't want me to use your name, I won't. Just let me know. And if you want me to link back to your Flickr so other people could look at your work, or link back to a 500px account or to a website, I'll be glad to do that. And that's it. Thanks for watching.